وجميع الكون لنا وطنا توحيد الله لنا.
Islam is a complete way of life for individuals, families, and nations. It can be implemented at every level. And at every level, it provides a complete and comprehensive set of teachings, instructions, ethics, objectives. And we must make a concentrated decision to live life as a complete Muslim. And don't be deceived or confused by labels made by non-Muslims for us. The third thing is to save yourselves and save your family members, especially the youth, from falling into propaganda that circulates around the web and could affect anyone, and it could be accessed by anyone.
شعار المجد لملتنا شعار المجد لملتنا
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with this beautiful deen, this wonderful way of life that we all hold so dearly to our hearts. Islam, which is the submission of one's own will and desires to the commandments of Allah and molding one's life to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Islam is a source of respect and honor for anyone who adopts it, anyone who implements it. Islam is a complete way of life for individuals, families, and nations. It can be implemented at every level. And at every level, it provides a complete and comprehensive set of teachings, instructions, ethics, objectives, and the modes of fulfilling those objectives. We know that in today's world, the message of Islam has been greatly confused. And the message being conveyed on behalf of various kinds of Muslims are throwing the entire world into a state of doubt, confusion, suspicion as to who these people are and what do they want, what do they hope to achieve. As Muslims living in Canada, we can all categorically not just state but feel that Muslims aim to be as productive, as beneficial to themselves, their family members, and society at large as possible. One of the prophetic teachings states that خَيْرُ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ. The best of people are those who are most beneficial for people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You are the best of nations, taken out, reserved for the benefit of mankind. Now this ummah has to, as one of its primary objectives, be beneficial to mankind. Yet we see images of destruction, harm, and all kinds of atrocities being committed by people on the name of Islam. How could that be representative of Islam when it collides with this very clear and simple message of the Quran that this nation is for the benefit of mankind? And sometimes Muslims who are watching this and seeing various movements being conducted on the name of Islam, they might get confused. They might be double-minded as to, are they right, are they wrong, are they good, are they bad? These are the occasions when you and I need to make sure we have access to solid knowledge of Islam. The first key to resolving these confusions is correct knowledge of the texts of Islam, Quran and Sunnah. When that text is misunderstood, or there is ignorance of the text, or its meaning is changed, misinterpreted to suit someone's agenda, to suit someone's political goals and objectives, then we have problems. So we need to first of all familiarize ourselves with the actual teachings of Islam. And we have to stop feeling hesitation about learning things like jihad. Because if we don't learn what it actually means, then someone's going to come along and present their version of it. And that version of it could possibly affect us or someone very close to us like our children. So what does Islam say about jihad? What are the Islamic teachings of war? What are the Islamic teachings of peace? What are Islamic foreign relations supposed to look like? What is an Islamic state supposed to look like? We need to familiarize ourselves with these basic concepts. And in talks like this, we don't unfortunately have the time to go into too many details. But I can tell you a couple of things. A group that claims to promote Islam, that claims to work for the Islamic cause, the name of Allah, the sake of Allah, the sake of deen, must first identify what deen is and how deen is spread. And a group that wishes to establish a government based on Islam must establish that government through Islamic and legal means. What kind of an Islamic state would found itself on the blood of thousands of Muslims? The foundation is wrong. Does it take the bloodshed of thousands of Muslim brothers and sisters, men, women, and children to establish an Islamic state? Does it take the killing of civilians? Does it take the murdering and execution of people to establish an Islamic state? And is it Islamic to take people who are not part of a conflict, completely innocent people, and in some cases, humanitarian workers that are lending their time and energy to help people, provide medical aid, provide assistance to people that are stricken by war and by crisis, to take people like that, make them the prisoners of war, torture them, and then execute them in the public? And is it Islamic to put the lives of innocent women and children in perpetual danger? To take people, to take girls and enslave them? And is it Islamic to ask people in other countries, people who are living peacefully, on peaceful terms, with clear agreements, and make no mistake, every time somebody comes to a country like Canada, whether it's on a visit visa, or a work visa, or a student visa, or as a permanent resident, or with citizenship, you are engaged in a covenant with that country. You are obliged, not just legally, you are obliged Islamically to fulfill the rules of that covenant that you have undertaken. وَأَوْفُوا بِالْعَهْدِ إِنَّ الْعَهْدَ كَانَ مَسْئُولًا. You must fulfill your commitments and your covenants, because on the Day of Judgment, along with other things that you will be asked about, such as salat and siyam and zakat and rights of parents and all of the things that we know about, we will also be asked about the covenants that we undertook. Did we fulfill them or not? Anyone who comes to this country under any of those visas or permits engages in an agreement to live in a law-abiding fashion, in a law-abiding manner. What could be Islamic about telling people who are in that covenant to go and strike out against the people that they live amongst? What kind of an Islamic movement would ask people to go and strike average citizens? There is nothing Islamic about this. Make no mistake. We, as Muslim communities, need to not only distance ourselves from this. Distancing ourselves is not enough. Denouncing it is the first step. But remember, denouncing it is easy. We have a role to play here. In fact, we have many roles to play here. The first and foremost, before we talk about anything, we must maintain our Islamic identity no matter what the conditions are and what the conditions may become. We must decide that we will live as Muslims and we will die as Muslims, so that we can be raised as Muslims in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment. What happens in the world is not all in our control, but our own beliefs, our own actions, and our decisions are in our control. And we must make a concentrated decision to live life as a complete Muslim. And don't be deceived or confused by labels made by non-Muslims for us. They'll say moderate Muslim. Are you a moderate Muslim? Are you a fundamentalist? Are you an orthodox Muslim? These terms aren't from us. These are terms made by other people so that they can categorize us just like some other species is categorized. What we are striving to be and what we need to continue striving to be is a practicing Muslim who acts on every aspect of Islam. And you can do that, and you must do that while being a law-abiding citizen. And there is no contradiction here. A country that gives you all the religious liberties and freedoms that a person could ask for, allowing you to build mosques and populate those mosques and worship and even preach your deen. There is no contradiction. Some people will tell you, no, don't be a fundamentalist Muslim, be a moderate Muslim. All of these labels don't mean anything. In the court of Allah, Allah will not ask you if you're a moderate Muslim or a fundamentalist Muslim or a radical Muslim or an extremist Muslim. Allah will ask you, were you a practicing Muslim and did you fulfill your duties in life or not? So there is no need to tone down your deen. There is no need to suppress, hide, conceal your Islamic identity. Be a Muslim and show the world that you're a Muslim. That's the first and foremost thing going forward. There's no need to be intimidated. People before us have been tested in much more severe ways. A group of companions came to the Prophet ﷺ while he was reclining. And they said, "Ala tad'u lana, ala tastansiru lana." O Prophet of Allah, won't you ask Allah to help us? We're being persecuted. Anyone finds out we're Muslim, the people of Makkah are attacking us. They're hurting us, not just verbally, but physically. Won't you at least ask Allah to help us? The Prophet ﷺ was reclining and he sat up. And he said, you know, for this very same purpose that you have come to me, the fact that you are being hurt or persecuted because of your identity, previous nations were also hurt. In fact, they were tortured and tormented in extremely brutal ways. Holes would be dug in the ground and they would be made to stand sand in them, and their bodies would be sawed in half with saws. And some of them would have the flesh stripped off the bones of their body while they were still alive. All of that to make them turn away from deen. But they wouldn't. وَلَكِنَّكُمْ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. What makes you so hasty? Why are you so impatient? Part of being a Muslim means being tested. Take that for granted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala announces openly in the Quran, do you think that you will claim to have Iman and I will not test you? Impossible. The second thing, after securing your own faith and practices, is to have a positive impact on the world around you. Wherever you are, in the workforce, in schools, in homes, in communities, to continue doing good work and carry out a positive representation of Islam and its teachings. The third thing is to save yourselves and save your family members, especially the youth, from falling into propaganda that circulates around the web and could affect anyone, and it could be accessed by anyone. You have to take responsibility for the way your children use the internet. You have to. You have to put the controls that need to be put into control. You need to take whatever measures need to be adopted in order to make sure that the online experience of your children and family members is a safe one, it's a legal one. And you have to keep your eyes open and keep yourselves alert to anyone in the community that may be trying to convey a message which promotes criminal violence. This is the concern here. Attacking people, hurting people, killing people, attacking places, these are all acts of criminal violence. There is absolutely no such thing as a jihad which consists of attacking targets or people on Canadian soil. Get that in your minds very, very clearly. And anyone who claims to do so is lying against Allah and lying against His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam for their own filthy political gains. Keep your own minds clear and keep the minds of your children clear. Educate yourselves, educate your children, and don't be intimidated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you this beautiful masjid. Populate it with your sujood. Fill this masjid with your prostration, with your recitation of the Quran, with your remembrance of Allah, with your supplications. We are being tested, and Allah knows how much more we will be tested in the future. That's not something that you and I can predict or foretell. But we have to brace ourselves, and we have to stop being intimidated, and we have to make a deliberate decision to stay firm on deen, and also to stay firmly away from any such propaganda. And if you know of someone who has fallen victim to such propaganda, the kind of propaganda that tells you to kill people, that tells you to attack civilians, or that tells you to go overseas and join certain parties that the Muslims have disowned, then you need to take very serious steps in either making that person understand or asking someone else to make them understand, and stop it before it goes too far. Because the moment someone plans to carry out a criminal act, or starts talking about it, inviting towards it, or starts giving material support to it, they have now entered into the realm of crime, and they will be prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law. We're not doing anyone a favor if we know that they have these tendencies by hiding it. That person needs help, get them the help that they need. And it's better we help them, for it's only a matter of time before the law will catch up to them. And look at the impact that every such event has on the community. How much attention is this mosque getting? For absolutely no reason. There was one guy here, and then there was another guy here. What's the connection? You see the backlash? And this is what boggles me about these people that are making these kinds of, propaganda. Don't they think how this is going to affect the Muslims that have children here, who have grown up here, who are going to grow up here? Don't they think of how difficult life is going to become? Because of one or two people's senseless activities. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the understanding and tawfiq. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. Another request is that, look, as community people, you may be approached by many people in the community, your friends, colleagues, asking you questions. Make sure you know what you're saying before you say it. Off-the-cuff remarks don't help anyone. Sometimes, in a state of emotion, you might just blurt something. Okay? And blurting something means you will say something that has no basis in the religion. It has no relevance to what's happening, but you say it anyways. It's an emotion you're trying to express. You need to be careful what you say out there, because what you say may be taken in a very negative light. So whether it's media that comes and talks to you, whether it's people off the street that come and ask you, hey, I want to know, what is this? And this happens to me. I get random calls sometimes. Hey, I'm just a concerned citizen. I want to know, what does Islam really say about all of this stuff? Is this real, or is this what's going on here? If you know the answer, and you're sure you know the answer, say it. If you don't misrepresent the religion. Don't misrepresent the teachings of Islam. May Allah give us tawfiq.